don't you start by telling us what the first thing that you know about of the Spencers coming to the United States?
Okay.
You're talking and walking away at the same thing.
The Spencer family and the Porter family and the Cadwell family all come here to the United States in a covered wagon. They come to this area in a covered wagon. And they got to Peoria,
Well, where'd they come from?
Pennsylvania.
And from before that, they came from England?
Yeah, I guess. As far as I know. Yeah, they were English.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to Peoria. No bridges or anything. So they had to cross Illinois River on a raft. And they came over here to Truro Township and settled along the timber so they'd have wood to burn to keep warm. And soon after, just wasn't too many years afterwards, my great-great-granddad, my great-great-granddad was on a racetrack on a horse. A horse fell on him and killed him over where the Dixie Schoolhouse is.
So he was racing the horse?
Yeah, he was racing a horse. The horse fell on him and killed him. And
Do you remember what his name was?
Joshua. And his oldest boy, was my great-granddad. He was 4 years old when they came here.
And what was his name?
So he had to take over for the family.
Well, what was his name?
Charles Sr. Our granddad was named Charles too, see, but this was Charles Sr. And he helped lay out a lot of the land, helped the surveyors lay out all the districts, things like that. And also he carried mail from Yates City to Rochester to Truro. Williamsfield wasn't here then.
Did he do it on horseback or did he have a wagon?
Down on horseback. And great-granddad accumulated quite a bit of land around. And I know he gave my granddad, when he was 21, give him 40 acres and give his brother Nathaniel 40 acres. I can identify that land. It's over where Harvey Brown used to live.
Do you remember who your great-grandfather, what his wife's name was?
Hosanna. And she lived to be 97 years old. And he was a lot younger. She'd been married before. And her first man's name was Welch. So that's where the Welches got in. And he died young. And she was a school teacher at Truro Corners. And my great-granddad lived that name pretty close there. So they kind of fell in love and got married.
And then who was your grandfather was
Great-grandfather?
great-grandfather was Charles Sr.
Was what?
Was Charles Sr.?
Yeah.
And and then Charles Jr., what was his wife's name?
Iva.
And how old did they live to be?
Oh, he was 86, but she died, I think, probably in her 70s. But I was telling him about my great-granddad. We'll go back. And he was, I suppose, around 90. And
Do you remember him at all?
oh, yeah. I used to sit on his lap. He died in 1926, and she died in 1927.
Is he the one that had all the beard?
He had a big white beard. Yeah.
Remember any stories about him?
No, I guess not too much.
Just sitting on his lap.
Yeah. Well, you see, I was born in 1918,
Mm-hmm.
so
Well, you were still pretty young when he died.
I was
Mm-hmm.
26. You see,
Hey,
I was
Mm-hmm.
8 years old then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I remember. His house was right across from the old Methodist church where Skinny Mosier used to live. Reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The Mosiers were related to us because Eddie Mosier married Granddad's sister, married one of the daughters. And there's the Hubers. Lincoln Huber, old Lincoln Huber,
Mm-hmm.
married one of them. So that makes the Hubers related.
Then tell us about your grandpa, Charles Jr.
What do you want to know about him?
I know I've heard some stories. How old did he live to be?
Oh, I don't know. Your mother can tell you. She remembered.
I remember him.
Huh?
I remember him.
Oh, do you?
I went and saw him when,
He died the year he was born,
Oh, he did.
so I would have been,
1957.
so I've been about 9 or 10 years old.
Orville Lee died in June. When did he die?
Orville got killed.
He died just before William.
Yeah,
Well, his funeral was the day of your wedding anniversary.
in June, I guess. That was in June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I spraying corn on the way. Grandpa died, and a week, Orville was one of the pallbearers for him. A week later, Orville got killed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of sad.
Everybody was in June.
Yeah.
I would have been 9 years old then. That's one. That's one. I
Was he-
remember going to see him. He was a nursing home. What town was that in, Dad? Was that in Kiwanee?
Huh?
He was at Kiwanee he was in, or nursing
What?
home?
Who? Galva.
Galva was a nursing home. I remember going with you.
Yeah, Mom went up to see him up
You
there.
and Grandpa and me. I remember going there one time, or somebody.
Yeah. It was in a
One Sunday we went over and picked
private
Aunt
home.
Rosie up and took her up to see
He
her.
didn't have nursing home.
He
then.
gave me a Santa Claus. A paper mache Santa Claus. Remember that used to be around the house there?
Mm-mm.
It was sitting there, and I remember he gave it to me. I was there that day. I don't know where it happened to it. I was leaving her in.
But I was telling you, I could tell you a lot more about my great-granddad or great-great-granddad. He was riding a horse over at Dixie School on a racetrack. Well, it wasn't over there. That was their pastime, see? Race horses instead of cars. And he was riding one, and one fellow came and killed him. He was in his 40s. So that made my great-granddad was kind of the head of the family, like. And he accumulated land, bought land from the government,
Mhm.
and for a very low price back then, but that was a lot of money then to them, I suppose.
Yeah.
And he was the oldest. There was he had a brother, brother Henry, married a snare. Now that's where the snares getting in there. And he had a brother Bill, and it was Harrison Spencer's dad. So that brought that bunch in.
When did you start farming on your own, Roland?
1946.
After you got out of the Army?
Yeah. And I farmed a Hale Dewitt place. He said I was the only one he was looking for to take his farm.
Mhm.
He said, if you don't want it, don't tell anybody else, because I could have a dozen there, but there'd be a dozen I didn't want.
Well, didn't he talk to Grandpa first? Didn't he talk to Grandpa about you first?
Yeah.
Didn't he talk to Grandpa Spencer about you first before he talked to you?
Oh, yeah.
Talked to him and Bill Duncan's one started it.
Well, all the neighbors around there, and all the neighbors around there wanted me to farm his place.
You want to sit beside him? Do you want to sit beside him?
I farmed it for 27 years. Farmed it till he was 93 and he died. In the meantime, 10 years before, I bought my own farm. Made a bigger farm out of it.
Well, why don't we go back to Grandpa Spencer? We didn't have to talk about Grandpa Spencer. Alan Spencer.
Yeah.
Annie. Why don't you talk about what you know about about Grandpa growing up and what he did, and tell some of those stories.
My dad, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was a farm boy throughout. And I think when he was 21 years old, he worked for Bill Clinch. When he was 22, he worked for Otto Gross, which was his uncle. Otto Gross married Granddad's sister. And he got all the fall work done and come down and work for Ed Kane a little bit. My mother called or sent word down that she'd like, when he got done down there, she'd like to hire him to build a fence. Good to keep the livestock in. So he went up there and started to build a fence and things like that. And
Because her husband died, right?
yeah, her husband died
Mm-hmm.
when he was in his 40s, I guess. And she was a lot younger. Mom was 29, I think.
How old was Grandpa? Because she was quite a bit older than Grandpa, wasn't she?
Yeah. He was 23, I think. And she made a deal. She'd been renting the place out. She'd have him for hired man this next year. So they made an agreement for being a hired man, and then they fell in love and got married.
So she hired him permanently.
Yeah.
Cuts out the
And
overhead.
she already had 3 kids too, Dad.
Yeah.
And what were the 3 kids' names, Dad?
Huh?
What were the first 3 kids? Who were they?
They were Orpha Johnson, Lena Johnson, and Arthur Johnson.
And Aunt Orphy, who did she end up marrying?
Hmm?
Aunt Orphy, tell a little bit about Aunt Orphy.
And Orphy, I suppose, is about 20. She got married Virgil Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
And Lena, she would be terrible getting married. Lena was younger, but she married Clell Riggin,
How old was she when she got married?
sophomore in high school.
Oh, she was a baby.
Buster.
And how about Buster?
Hmm?
How about Buster?
Oh, Buster was, I suppose, 21 and 22 before he got married. I don't know.
And he married twice, right?
Yeah, he married Mary King, first marriage. And they had, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess about 5 kids, I did.
What's it, 3?
Hmm? There was Charles and Mary Lou, who was the 2 oldest,
And Rodney. 4.
Floran,
Rodney,
Rodney,
4 of them.
There's 4. So their grandma and grandpa got married how soon before you were born?
Hal. They got married in
Remember what year it was?
yeah. They got married in January. And no, they got married in February. And I was born the next January.
So they got married in 21? Or 17?
Well, you can figure back, that's all I
Yeah.
know.
There's enough months in between there.
Figure each way from 1918.
And then how many kids in the family?
Well, there was 6 Spencers and 3 Johnsons. So that make 9.
Well, name everybody off.
Pardon?
Name your siblings off.
Well, Roland, Brian, Orville, Donald, Calvin, and Helen.
It can be edited.
Mm-hmm.
And how many kids do you have?
Well, yeah, but and then name off who they married and how many children each one of them had. I'm going to really test you now.
Test.
I'd have to think through ours.
Well, Roland, I'm married. Lillian. And we have 4 kids. Nina Sue.
Well, F and Roland, we had 5.
Huh?
We had 5 kids.
What's the matter?
They had 5. Snookum.
Well, we lost him, you know. I meant so she meant living. Yeah, we lost our first one, which I never seen. I tried to come home, but the Army wouldn't let me.
You were in Hawaii then, weren't you?
And then in 1946, Nina Sue was born. June. I guess June 30th.
Yep, he got the date.
Hmm?
Let's see how many dates he can get.
June,
Better get some.
He can tell you months, but
June 30th, I think.
yeah, you got that one. Who was next?
Well, Milton was next. He's born in September.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I can say the date or not. But
18.
maybe about the 26th. Or
No.
Uh-uh.
Oh.
Well,
18.
there was somebody born on the 26th, but it wasn't him.
Probably you
Uh-huh.
in June.
Mm-hmm. Yep, June 26th. Okay, so Ruby's...
Well, Ruby's born in January.
No.
December, Dad.
Oh, December.
Close.
Winter anyway.
Winner.
And she was born what date?
What day? I don't remember that.
13th.
49.
And then there's me.
And then it was Sheila.
Years later.
Yep. Mom always said she didn't know what she's going to do with her, but now she wonders what she'd do without her.
Well, why don't we go back? What Andrew really wants to know about is World War II. So why don't you tell us when you went in the Army and how that all came about and everything?
Well, they wanted you to. Well, we had, see, back in the fall of 40, things was getting hot over in Europe, and they didn't even think anything about Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what they voted on this conscription or not, but they decided to draft people for the Army. And that come up in the fall of 40. And I kind of questioned around in this draft board and things, and I found out I was going to have to go this summer of 1941.
Mm-hmm.
The Illinois National Guard here in Galesburg was going to Tennessee. Camp Forest, brand new camp. No one had ever been there, and so I just joined up with that. I thought I'll get my year in and then start in the spring, and I'll get out in the spring when work starts. And I went up, took a couple of guys, Virgil Meese and Lauren Howard, up that morning. Lauren, he had a spud kill too. I just had a coupe, but we jammed in there. And Spud joined, and Lauren Howard joined, and I joined. And they were going to go just in a few days, 4 or 5 days, when I joined up. So I joined up. They gave him a shot right on the spot. Boy, that typhoid shot, you can give it to you a dozen times, it hurt every time. Make you have a fever. And we decided to go, and we marched from the armory down there, down to the Q depot, got on a train, and I can see my mother yet. She come down there to see me off, and the doggone car froze up on the way down there and delayed him. And I looked out, and there she was. I was in the train, and I seen her out walking along. We hollered at her. She was crying,
Oh.
and old Guy Rim, you remember Guy Rim?
Mhm.
He raised the window and he says, "Don't worry, Mrs. Spencer, I'll take care of him." Yeah.
And you guys did look after each other, didn't you,
Well,
Dad?
we did.
Mhm.
Didn't have anyone else to it.
You made some good friends while you were in the service,
Oh, yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your friends.
Well, Lloyd Cochran too
Mhm.
was on there. He's gone. Guy Rim's gone. Yeah, we used to, well, once a month, I suppose, we'd have dinner at our house or their house or take turns. And just made good friends all the way through.
Mhm.
Where did you go when you got on the train? Where did you end up?
Camp Forest. The train went right into Camp Forest.
Right down to Tennessee.
Yep.
It changed your life forever.
Hmm?
It changed your life forever, didn't it?
Yep, well, I'm there and then I met her.
How'd you meet Mom?
I met her at the bus depot.
You were hanging out at a bus depot, Mom?
No, no,
You had to go there and catch a
no,
bus.
we was waiting for the bus to come in so we could go off. Old McCumsey and I, Dennis McCumsey, we was waiting for the, so we was standing there and was watching everybody get off the bus, and there's 3 girls got off the bus, and so we started talking to them. That was Ruby and Lillian and Fiend Wiseman. And I kind of asked a little bit about them and got their address. And I started writing to them.
Mom didn't want Aunt Ruby talking to you, though, did she?
Oh, she was hurt or something, tired or something. But I don't know. She's probably sorry that, I don't know. I doubt it.
Okay, Mom. Tell your rendition of the story.
Your version of
Oh,
it.
I don't got nothing to say about that.
Well, no, tell it.
For him, huh?
Huh? Well, tell us what happened.
When you was talking to him at the bus stop.
I don't know.
Well, what did Aunt Ruby do?
Tell
She
us
was one was talking to him. I was tired. I'd worked 11 hours that day.
Where'd you work?
Shoe factory.
Yeah, I wrote to Ruby, she's the one on to talk, and I got a date right away.
Oh,
You gotta watch out for the quiet ones, though.
so yeah.
The ones that don't talk.
So, how many times did you go out with Aunt Ruby?
Huh?
How many times did you go out with Aunt Ruby?
God, I don't know. I was with both of them, pardon.
Maybe you don't want to take this.
Really didn't know which one I was taking.
Is that French word for that?
Some triage.
Ain't that right, Mom?
Yeah, you had a picture of both of us, and when you sent your dad a telegram Father's Day, you got married. They didn't know which one you married.
Yeah,
Food, enough of
I had,
gas stamps and come through.
I sent my dad a Father's Day greeting that I got married. And he was mowing hay. And he stopped and tied the horses up and went to town just to get the telegram.
So then what happened when you was at the camp down there? Then where did you go? What did you there and where did you go?
Well, we stayed there a while.
That's before he was there. That's fine.
We went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
You left the camp though and went to Camp Tick right outside of the camp.
Yeah,
So
Well,
let
we-
us come in.
we was out in that Camp Tick when we got married.
What were they training you for? What job was you gonna have in the Army?
Was artillery,
Artillery.
big 6-inch guns. And Fort Sill, Oklahoma needed somebody to go down there and fire guns for the officers' training. And we went down there during July. And we fired for them. Then we come back to Camp Tick again outside of the Camp Forest area. We had to move out there, so there's another division moving in. And we went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and spent the winter up there.
Cold up there, and
No.
it wasn't cold up there. Well, yes, right on the coast.
Yeah, that's warm.
Oh, not Fort Lewis.
No.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
you go 100 miles away, Yakima,
Yeah.
up on the firing range, and boy, it gets cold there. We got sent up there,
Mm.
I guess in January.
What was the
And-
name of the town in Washington?
It get 30 below zero.
Oh, Olympia? Okay.
Oh, it was cold. You hear the old coyotes hollering. It's kind of a desert. You know, they had to irrigate that up there before they bring some awful good apples up there.
Yeah.
But they irrigate it, see?
Had the irrigate.
And you look out, and it looks like the water's running uphill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How long was you there before you went overseas?
Well, we went, I guess we left her in May, didn't we, Mom?
is it between 6 and 7 months you was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you left. in
She
May.
she was up there, she followed me. But when I went to the Mojave Desert, she had to stay at home. We had to go back home. And we went to the Mojave Desert, we was taking desert train for Africa. And we had barbed wire entanglements just about a foot off the ground. You had to crawl into them on your belly.
Mm.
It was firing tracer bullets over you all the time. You could see them just flying. And but there's rattlesnakes out there, but it didn't make any difference. A lot of
What kind of bullets did you call them?
tracer bullets.
Oh, tracer bullets. Okay.
Yeah, they when they come out, they light up.
Yeah. That's when you see the ACAC guns that shoot the plane. You see the ones you can see that are tracer.
That's the way they do these big guns on these tanks. I was in the tank outfit too later on. We had, you get your sights set and fire tracer bullets. It was 30 caliber. Fire tracer bullets at the target. And then you hit the target, then you reach over and hit the big one.
Yeah.
Don't waste the big ammunition that way.
I see where you're shooting.
And a tank, you'd think, how do they go like this everywhere and shoot? But that barrel is always level. They got what they call a gyro stabilizer on. Hit a pump that pumps oil. Keeps that barrel level all the time. That's a funny thing.
Yeah. So then how long was you in the Mojave Desert?
Well, I think July the 8th. Then we went down to Frisco and got on the ship, crossed the plank.
So instead of going to Africa, you went to Hawaii, right?
Yep.
It wasn't Hawaii like it is now, though, was it?
No, they had guns. We had guns buried out in the mountains around there. And every once in a while you'd get an alert call. You'd fire at a Japanese submarine.
Mm-hmm.
We fired all night one night, and there's a bunch of houses right out in front of us. Just fired right over the top of them.
Mm.
Kind of a little congregation, you know, that's the way they live over there out in the country.
Yeah.
We said something to them. One of the guys that came out the next morning, if he was nervous last night, he said, I sure was.
I imagine so.
When you too
I
low.
didn't get a lot of sleep either, did they?
Oh, that, boy, a guy could make a mistake and blow their house out of the
Oh,
ground.
sure.
They
Take 'em
go
get
left.
I tell them to leave.
So, tell everybody what happened to you when you was in Hawaii.
Oh, that's about what happened to us.
When you got
Think
injured over there, though.
Huh?
Tell them about when you got injured.
Oh, yeah, I was a tank outfit then.
Yeah.
I was using a torch, and I don't know whether it got, I think the threads on the jet was wore out. It was brass threads. And I don't know, it kept losing pressure. So I kind of tightened it up and bumped it up a little bit more, and boy, it just blew out right at me. And set my clothes all afire. I was afire from head to foot. And most everybody that gets a fire, first thing they do is start running. And I done that. I started to run, and here they come with fire extinguishers from them tanks. They was going to shoot that on me. I said, I knew what that chemical might do to you. I said, don't do that, don't do that. And here come a couple more guys with some blankets, and they threw that on me, rolled me up in the blankets, put the fire out. And so then I went to, they took me to the first aid station. They just pinned a tag on me or give me a shot of morphine, I guess. And told them not to give me any more when I went to the hospital. So I went there, and first thing they do here, they come around with a syringe. They give me another morphine shot. I said, don't do that, or read this tag here. They didn't pay attention to me. They give me another shot, and they put me in that's what they call a sad sack room. Just people that was bad shape, they put them in there.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, I was sick. I just threw up everything, and the burns are the worst thing you can get.
How did they treat it?
Well, they had just rubbing bandages around me, and bandages around, my leg, this leg was burnt clear up to the hip, and I had some on my hands where I was fighting the fire. But it cleared up pretty good. It wasn't so bad. And they said they was going to leave that bandaged up so many days before they took the bandage off. Well, I laid there and suffered. And I don't remember how long I was on there, but the nurse says, if you don't take Spencer's bandage off, she says, I'm going to. She says he suffers day and night. And so they tried to take it off there in bed. And it was matted just, matted like cement. They couldn't get it off. They took me up to the operating room, and they cut it off and put other stuff on it, alcohol, to try to loosen it up. They got it off, my leg was green. And boy, why one doctor jumped on the other about being his fault and all this and that. And he says, what do you think? Why? He says, look at his temperature here. My temperature had run way up all the time. And they, that was the time penicillin was real new. They just hadn't been around very long. But they give my leg a bath in penicillin twice a day. I think that's one of the things that saved it. You know, you start to get green, why, gangrene, you know. That's what they're scared of.
Yeah.
And I was in hospital a long while. I guess I was in hospital about 4 months. I couldn't get it to heal. I couldn't get it to heal, and it took a pinch of this and pinch of that, and grafted skin in there.
Where do they take the grafts from?
My other leg.
Mm.
If you look real close, you can see them. But that's all they need. They would see burn. Anything was like to heal from the outside in. See, and these pinch grafts, they put them in the middle, so they'd go both ways. They started growing.
So then what happened? You was in the hospital there 4 months. Then when they bring you back to the States?
Yeah.
He had a were you in Hawaii when you had that one visitor who had the Spencer name too?
Of course, there's other stuff happening in between.
Yeah.
Dad.
What Sheila wants to know is when you didn't get your money and another Spencer got it. But
No, that's not what I want to know.
you said that.
Yeah.
No, he had a movie star come and visit him.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Spencer Tracy.
Yeah.
He was visiting the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Was that in Hawaii when that happened, or
I think so, yeah.
back when? Okay. He said he had to go over and talk to Daddy because his name was Spencer, didn't he? Mm-hmm. He was a very big actor.
Cancer.
Yeah, but that's when I got to come home. Where I laid there and I was just about to shape them in now. You know, I got down thin as the dickens. Suffered so much. Mm-hmm. They found out I wouldn't be able to go back to duty for a long while, so they sent me back to the States, put me on limited duty.
Where'd they send you back to? Where did they send you back to?
Come back to California, and they sent me to in Indiana.
Well, I suppose we better end it there because his nurses will be here pretty soon.
Right close to Columbus.
Atterbury, wasn't it?
Atterbury, Camp Atterbury. Sent me there,
Oh, sorry.
and
Yeah.
they come around to go sick call, and this
You want to finish this?
one doctor wanted to give me medical discharge, and he said, well, I'll wait for the board of doctors, and there was 5 of them, and they come over, and they decided to keep me on a limited status. I drifted around from one camp to another, back and forth. We finally wound up back up at Fort Sheridan.
You went to Florida too.
Yeah, they sent me down to Florida.
I forgot about that.
Trained in Florida and right back to Fort Sheridan.
A lot of travel.
And took care of German prisoners.
Well, we're going to stop this for tonight, Dad. And we'll continue it tomorrow night.